welcome back. I'm sure you haven't gotten over the last panel session. It was phenomenal. And guess what? We have another phenomenal panel session. In fact, I shouldn't be biased and say this. Maybe we save the best for last, right? But we're going to be talking about marriage and business. Yes, marriage and business. And we have some amazing couples, two amazing couples, and then, the surprise guest that I told you about. But, Mr. and Mrs. Ogunleye moved back in January 2009. And in May 2009, they opened the doors of their first restaurant, the Ice Cream Factory in Victoria Island. I'm sure you all know Ice Cream Factory. Approximately 9 months later, they also opened Yin Yang Chinese Restaurant, now rebranded as the Yin Yang Express. And they've been married for at least almost 2 decades. Yes. Hi, I can see you guys. How are you? Thank you so much for coming. They're also very special to us as a couple. And also we have the Baloguns as well. Goke and Abimbola returned to Nigeria in 2008 after a brief stay in South Africa. They were inspired to change the narrative around access to fresh, nutritious food and revolutionizing my English. Nigeria's fresh produce retailing sector. I'm sure you've all heard of So Fresh. Hi, Abimbola and Goke. My people as well, my So Fresh people. See, I have a very balanced life. Ice Cream Factory and So Fresh. And then I have my husband, the the crown of my head, Mr. Oshikoya here. We're talking about marriage and business, and he's like, he doesn't know why he's here. But this is family business, if you don't know. In all my documents, all my all my legal documents, and I always add you as director, so you are part of the family business. So. But yes, thank you all so much for joining. So why did we think it was important to have this panel? There are lots of family-owned businesses where both husbands and wives work together in the same business. This can be both rewarding and can also add pressure in a marriage if not navigated properly. We hope this panel will provide inspiration, knowledge, and encouragement for couples in business. So I'm going to start with Mr. and Mrs. Ogunleye. So congratulations on the recent landmark birthday celebration. So I'm going to just try and make it a bit soft, Elizabeth. Can you share one favorite thing you like about each other or one annoying thing? So you can pick which one.
Okay, so it's one or the other. I'll let Shade go first.
Okay.
I think for me, I'm pretty sure it's the way he's just so secure in himself. And I think the fact that he's so secure in himself enables him to just let me fly and let me run. He's saying one thing is quite a challenge. So maybe I'll just drop in a few more about him. Also, it's just the way he's just an amazing father, and it's just so hands-on when it comes to family, raising the children. It's not the kind of how you have it, maybe traditional mindset of, okay, man is meant to do this and a man is meant to do this, but he just steps in and is very, very hands-on. And I just love the way he loves me. So I think that's those are, since you said one, I've done 3. So
you're making us all blush in the studio.
It's allowed.
Mr. Ogunleye.
I don't know. So for me, Shade, I guess similar things. So many things, so many parts of Shade that I just love and admire. But I think most importantly is a love for God. It's almost contagious. So with Shade, no matter where the conversation is going, no matter what the conversation is, it still has to come back and it's centered around her faith, her love for God. Whether it's someone, she's giving of herself. A lot of times I see that, where she's, and that's how, from right from when we got married, whether she's counseling someone or she's just putting in some effort in something else, even at work. It's not just, when I'm just like, okay, it's bottom line, and what are we thinking about? She still has to bring back the whole, what is your purpose? And, it's still beyond just work. So, yeah, so her love for God, her faith, if I could chip in one other thing, her resilience. So if there's anything that we're chasing after, anything we're trying to build or we're planning, Shade literally won't stop until we're done. Sometimes I even have to say, okay, can we just leave it, put it to one side and continue tomorrow? We don't have to finish a 1 week project in 24 hours, or we don't have to finish a 1 week plan in 24 hours or a few hours. So she sets really high standards and really tough goals. Yeah, and then she always has to go for that. Yeah, so her resilience and her love for God.
Thank you. I love it. I love it. So, Mr. and Mrs. Balogun, they've set the bar very high. Can you also share one favorite thing about each other? Or if you want to go on the annoying thing part, feel free to mix it up a bit.
Hi, Omilala. Congratulations and thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Okay. It's also very tough, but let me just try. I love the way he treats me like a new bride. Like every day is just like we just got married. So he's totally, absolutely in love, and he puts me first, and that's such a sweet, thing to experience. Particularly, let's just take for instance that, maybe he got out of bed earlier than me. He will just be tiptoeing like, I want this person to wake up. He will go to the bathroom. Sometimes I will open my eyes and I will be watching how he doesn't even want a pin to drop. Let this woman not wake up. Let me keep my baby happy. Yeah, so that's I love about him.
Oh, Mr. Balogun, she has said this is taking it higher.
Thanks for having us. Let me start from that. Bimbo, one thing I love, really about her is she's almost like a big, check in our marriage, especially when it comes to business. We're talking about business and marriage, so she's very family oriented, and when you're running a business, there's just a tendency for you to overshadow everything that's happening. But she's been that powerful voice of reason that always bring us back to why we are together in the first instance. The family, the kids, the children. So I really love the fact that family remains number one. And because of that, we are always able to stay on that track. I want to go on the other side as well.
I love it.
I hope I'll be safe after this. But I'm going there because of something that I think it's important. So when we newly got married, something that used to frustrate me was that my wife moved very, very fast when it comes to decision making and action, and I'm the opposite. So I'm like, why can't we slow down? Why can't we think this through? And then once she has set her mind on something, she was like, what we can do today, why do it tomorrow? And I didn't get that part of it. But what I'm bringing it up is it's now become one of the things I also really admire about her, because she's been able to kind of reorientate that part of me, and I also subscribe to what you can do today, why postpone it to tomorrow. It was something that was frustrating at the beginning, but just stepping back and see the positive side of it, it's been very useful for us in business, in marriage, in making decisions and really making things happen. And it has now become one of the things I really admire about her. If I'm thinking about something, I want us to move fast. I just say it. My natural instinct will be to think and think and think about it. But I know that once she hears it and she believes in it, we have to move ahead with it.
Extra chicken.
I love it. Extra chicken. Please send to our house too. So I'm going to ask you, what's that one thing? You've heard the question. I don't need to repeat it.
Well, how would I put it? That one thing Do I start with an annoying thing or the good thing?
If you want to put annoying now, it's okay. We're going
Let's
back to
start
the
with
same house.
With the annoying thing, then
Okay.
things will get better. Omi moves around like she's in a world of her own. Not as if she means to, but everything revolves around what she knows she wants to do to fulfill purpose. And that takes a lot of her time, not intentionally, but and again, it now draws into the good thing I like about you, which is, you're very prayerful. You're very committed to what it is you want to do, especially after the experience we went through. I see the same thing from your working life when you started work at first. That same tenacity is what you're using for this, purpose-driven life and the richer woman and, what we are here for today. So that's what I like and find a bit annoying about you.
Because I'm pushing you hard. But thanks. I think for me, for you, what do I like most? Or should I start with the so that I'll not balance it to the like? So you forget. I think the annoying thing, I think, interestingly, what the thing that I really, really was looking forward to when I met you, and you were so like Felicia, Shade said about Felicia, not the traditional type of person. I remember coming to visit you when your mom had traveled and you had to take care of your dad, and I could see how you took care of him. I think you made amala, you made stew with like cow leg or something, and I was like, yes, that's the kind of guy I want to buy. Very hands-on, very clean. You like to clean, But now that cleaning thing, and it's not just you. You have now reproduced yourself in your offspring. You've now reproduced yourself in your offspring. So it's almost like there are plenty of people in the house. Everybody cleaning. Now is a lot. But I think the thing that I love most about you is, I'll say two things. You are my greatest cheerleader and supporter. So even like this, you have things to do. You are very busy, but and that's one of the things the girls said on your birthday, that daddy is always there. If I'm doing a conference, you're always there. People see me here, for the last 3 days, but I've really been out of the house, even though I go home every evening. But what the kids will eat, pickups and everything, you are there. You're super supportive, and I love that. My greatest cheerleader. And the fear of God, I love it. Oh, I love it. I love that part about you, the fear of God, because I can report it to God, and I know that He'll just give you one dream like this and you tell me. But
I'll do the same.
Exactly. So it was important for me to ask these questions because I know that there are younger couples or younger singles, listening, and you need to take notes so that the kinds of things to look out for in a spouse, and you know that, okay, this is a red flag, this is something that I want. So I hope you've taken notes. So I'm going to go back to the Ogunleyes. Actually, I'll just ask the same question to both couples, and we can start with the Ogunleyes answering. Both of you, in this season where people are jackpying, that's probably one of the most trending word on social media. Leave it. The Ogunleyes moved back from the UK. The Balogos moved back from South Africa. It's very rare. Moved back, and you've both started businesses. The Ogunleyes, you started the first, gourmet, ice cream restaurant in Nigeria, and you've gone on to even do, it's just, and with Yin Yang and so many other things. And, with the Balogons, essentially, I would say the indigenous healthy food chain in Nigeria. So you both came and, started in an industry. You were pioneers, actually. You're both, your businesses are pioneering businesses in the industry. Now, there are couples watching now where they were both working in maybe one of the big four, or big tech companies, and they both lost their jobs because of the global economic difficulties. And they're just thinking, what can they do? What should they do? What are the prospects in the industry? So why did you have the courage to leave the secure societies that you were in to come to this risk, very risk plentiful, if there's anywhere like business environments. And for a couple who are thinking of what business to start, what are the prospects in the industry? If you can just do that in like 2 minutes so that we can go to the, but go ahead.
Okay, so great. I mean, it's a fantastic question. It's something like you rightly said, it's something that's going through a lot of people's minds. It's a very tough period right now in the economy. But then I think, first of all, it's we're in a Christian for now. So I think, first of all, you've heard from God, you've prayed to God about what to do. So whatever industry it is you're going into. And then I think but most importantly, I would be saying, after you've done all of that, is that you're facing it, from my own perspective, Pras, to give any advice, is that you're facing it like a business. So you've gone through what is the plan, what are the processes that you're putting in place. That's the first thing I would be advising. Make sure your processes are all in place before you even start. What are you planning to build? You know, what culture are you trying to set up in the business? And right from the get-go, you're setting out your culture, your processes, all of those things I've been putting. I don't know if you have anything else to add.
Yes. What I would like to say is that, every season is different. So the period where we moved back home, we have to appreciate the fact that it was very different time. Things were different. Nigeria was different then. So if we're bringing it in the context of now, it's good to admit that things are much tougher now. The conditions that existed then, even though Nigeria was hard, we're not the same thing. It's not the same sort of environment that they're coming into now. So why it's so very important that you don't use somebody's yardstick to measure yours and say, these people are doing this, let me go and do this. It's everybody's path is different. So getting a clear direction from God. Now, it may not be something like, God is whispering, I had a dream, and God said, do this and do that, it's just in different ways. People know how God speaks to them. Maybe there's an impression that God leaves in your heart that this is what we need to do. But even after God gives you that direction, there's still your own work in it. So there's a proper plan, there's proper research, there's proper, there are things that one needs to do if you are venturing into a certain business or certain, there's an idea. You need to do your homework, make sure you checked out your numbers, viability, what are the risks, just as you would do. The fact that God says, do this, doesn't mean that you just sit down and everything drops like on a platter for one. You need to still make sure that you do your own work and then just trust God.
Thank you so much. Yes, so do your due diligence. Yes. Definitely. Thank you. Mr. and Mrs. Balogun.
Right. So I'd just like to add to that. I think I would like to start off from where Shade stopped. Say that for us, we were gone for a specific period of time, and we're always going to return. I was working, so I was out on a posting for about 3 years, and in that period, we found what we thought was exciting and something that we were both passionate about. That we thought this would be great to bring back to Nigeria when we return. So I want to say that in starting a business, any business, and especially if you're going to go in it together as a couple, it's important that there is about the same level of passion and commitment to whatever you want to go into. Because I've also found situations where people have come to me, maybe the wife or the husband, I'm trying to do this business, but my husband is not supporting me. And I see like a tendency for, especially women, when they want to start a business, they want their husbands to be in it. I think that it's important that if the both of you are going to be together in it, then there must be a level of passion and commitment to that dream. Because if you don't have that, then someone along the line, gets bored or gets tired, then it could have a significant impact, because then one person feels all alone, one person feels stranded. So I think that needs to be, really, talked about and, agreed upon. The next thing is, especially as a couple, maybe you're married, you have kids, you really want to be careful about, when you decide to start, how you start. So for example, in our case, I was working, she was working. So we had that cushion of a salary. and we started small, testing out, trying out the idea, getting the market validation. We did not just put all our savings, and then when we thought, okay, this thing looked like it was starting to, work out, Bimbo resigned first. So I'm telling you what we did. Bimbo resigned first, and she faced the business square on. Then I stayed back with still the benefit of that pushing. Then after about 6 years, I now joined her. So we had that benefit of pushing. We had some savings we had gathered over the years, and we could now focus fully on it. I think that's also something to think about, starting moderate and not putting everything, in the basket all at once. I think lastly, I would like to say that when you're running a business together with your spouse, it's so important that both of you are aligned on the reason for the business. And when I say the reason for the business, it looks obvious. Some people are in the business for let's create a long-term wealth or long-term what's it called?
Gain.
Legacy. Okay. Some people want to start business for immediate needs, like I can travel, I can afford what I want to. And for me, neither of those reasons are wrong or valid. But it's important that both agree on what's our philosophy about business, what's our philosophy around finances, around reinvestment and all of that, so that when business starts to make money or business starts to grow, you are both aligned on how to navigate those periods.
Yes, I think it's everything that you've all shared. I just want to add that as a couple, it's so important to ask yourself, what do we want? What do we want? What do we want to build? And that will fuel your decisions. Whether, for instance, we had the opportunity of staying back in South Africa. I mean, in hindsight, maybe we should have stayed back. I don't know.
Too late now.
But given the knowledge and what we could see at the time, we took that decision to come home. So it's important to jointly make decisions and stand by yourself, support yourself through the seasons and the phases that will show up, while you execute and while things unfold. So that's just a bit I want to add. Thank you.
Thank you. So when Mr. Balogun was talking initially and talking about it's important that both people are, have passion. And my husband was looking at me like I'm trying to drag him into it. Why were you looking at me like that?
No,
I've casted
funny enough,
you.
what they were sharing touches me in the sense that we're talking about, couples in the business. And to be honest with you, I came here to support Umilola, like I always do. I feel I should. I remember what Gay said in the last session about two becoming one. It's not a union of division where there are two sides of a coin. It's more of a union of an organism working together, an entity. It's not a coin. We don't flip who's in control today. And I think that's what I get from what the Baloguns are saying, in the sense that for us, I think we're beginning to understand what it is I believe we're supposed to do. And it's difficult for me because it will take time to assimilate it. And I think you're ahead of me. And that's what they're saying. I hope we'll get to a point of understanding. Yeah. Because I was going to ask them, who came up with the idea of So Fresh? Was it something you guys decided to do together initially, or was it one person started it off?
And so I came up with the idea, and then I shared it with her. Like, what do you think about this? And the response was instant. Like, this, I love it. This is great. Let's do this together. Honestly, I was doubting that idea, if she had said, "Oh, she doesn't think this will work," and all of that, probably I would not have done it. But it was immediate, instant connection and passion, and then from day one, planning everything, we were just in it together from the first day.
Wow.
In fact, at the point in time, like I said in my opening, she was not the one pushing, like, "Okay, I'm not doing this thing again. This thing is slowing down. Let's go." In fact, I used to do 2 weeks on, 2 weeks off. I was working in the oil and gas industry, and then I went offshore for 2 weeks, and she called me that she has found the shop. She was the one that put the guy. "I found the shop. When you come back, we are going to check it."
Yeah,
Wow.
I love it. I think. Yeah. Okay. So
So sorry, I was
that's
going to
what
add
makes-
something. Sorry, I know you're supposed to be interviewing us,
It's okay.
but we're here together. I was going to ask the same question to Felicia and Shade, because I remember their story about how they wanted to start off, and based on what they said, Felicia had been thinking about it, and Shade had been thinking about it. I remember they explained, I think we were discussing at one point, and they spoke about how unintentionally they had prayed on a particular day, and when they got home, they had prayed for the same thing, and God kind of put everything
So should we ask
in
them
motion.
Yeah,
what?
exactly.
Yeah.
Because I'll never forget that story.
Okay.
So what happened was we knew that we always wanted to come back home. That was already a plan. So we were in agreement when it came to that. And we knew we wanted to work for ourselves. So what we did was we didn't know what we wanted to do. We weren't sure. So that was what we said we wanted to. So I'm just giving you a short condensed version of the story. And so we just prayed. We said we take a period, we just fast and wait on God and pray for direction. And at that time, funny enough, we had been thinking about exploring just different ideas, doing research and all of that. And on this particular day, Felicia was on his way back from the station, he was working from the station, and as he was praying, and the Holy Spirit told him, "What about ice cream?" So he thought, ice cream, because it's something we thought about, but we were dismissed because we're thinking of the franchise route model, And he said to himself, "God, if this is you, when I get home, let Shade confirm that this is." No, but let Shade confirm, not when I get home. If this is you, let Shade confirm, this thing you're telling me. And then I was actually on the computer when he got home, and I was actually in the middle of doing some research on some other gadgets or something wanted to bring to Nigeria and something. And then the Holy Spirit said ice cream. So I just asked him, I said, "Felicia, what about?"
Wow.
Wow.
And so it was just profound, and God took it from there. But one thing I wanted to add, I was actually going to chip this in, is that yes, two become one, but not every couple is called to work together. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's no reflection of the strength of marriage, right? So it's not everyone that has to work together as a couple, right? And because you see, when God has called you to do something, there is grace for that journey. So if you have been called to work together, there is grace for that journey. If you are trying to, people are working, let's also do whatever, it should just be so much tension and friction. So not everyone has to work together. And it's no reflection on how strong their marriage is. I wanted to just put that in as balance.
That's great.
I think that's so powerful. I think that's so powerful. Thank you for sharing that. It's not every couple, and I think for us, I think it's more. Ours is more ministry. So we know that we do like a married ministry, but because for me, and I think I found it difficult. Ministry, but then you're saying business, right? Because I'm also on a journey with God and it's transitioning, so that's. But we'll talk about that one later. But okay, so I want to ask about personalities, right? Because and even going back to what the Balogun said about, Bimbo was the one that picked up the phone and I found the shop, that kind of thing. I think for us, I always say that, and I think it was Amonsa that said that we're like fire and water, right? So Benga cools me down because I'm fire. Once I get an instruction, I follow, as some people say, I follow God blindly. I can, faith or courage, but then I fire him up. So he's water equipment. I fire him up. So in terms of your businesses, what are your, do you find that your personalities actually complement each other in business, right? Does it help? You know, are your different personalities, does it actually help in terms of even growing your business or operating your business? I don't know if that you understand the question. If both couples could please share.
Okay, one first.
We concede now. You go first.
So I'll say yes. We complement each other, right? And that is, I think, the only reason why we would still be running business together after 10 years. So I used to be the fire. I don't know. Now I think I've cooled down. Maybe we switch roles depending on the situation. But the beauty is that we complement each other. And so when someone takes on a nature, the other person picks on the other one. And it sort of helps us deal with situations, reasonably as much as possible. So that's how I would respond to that.
Yeah. So just to add to that, yes, we definitely complement each other, and it's been that's been a very, a key success factor for us working together. But I just also like to put a balance that for me, what I found out is that those areas of differences could usually be source of conflict. So it's in being humble enough. Now I'm talking to the men, but I think we want to be real on this part. Is in being humble enough to understand and know each other's strengths, and know each other's weakness, and being able to accept that. So like I said, my wife, very, very direct, very spontaneous and action oriented. On the other side, I could be very I may like to call it strategic, but sometimes very slow in making decisions and putting things together, because I'm trying to be over meticulous. That like, how do they even put it in business school? Like you analyze till death. Analysis paralysis. Exactly. So we're quite opposite in that. At the beginning, it used to be quite annoying and frustrating because I didn't understand it. But in being humble enough and trying to say, at the end of the day, it's about the same mission, the same purpose, the same focus. So once that was clear, even if both of us were approaching it from different perspectives, we know that this person is approaching it from their perspective, we are approaching it. Now she said maybe she's cooled down. I don't think she's cooled down, but we've kind of closed up in terms of the differences. So I'm more spontaneous, I'm more action oriented than I was, when we started. So it really helped us, work together. And in business, for example, sometimes you just need to be direct, especially when you're dealing, for example, with a team of people, and you can't always be, so it helps us balance, both sides, depending on the business situation. And because of that, early on, we understood, okay, this is where your own strength lies, and this is where my own strength lies. And it was based on that we actually, had created shared roles at the beginning. So you are good at this, your temperament fit this, your personality fit this, so do this. You are good at this, and then you do this. So, that way, everybody was operating from an angle of strength, and really helped us thus far.
Thank you. Mr. and Mrs. Ogulaya?
Yeah, so similar sort of pathline. I think once when you've been running a business for a certain period of time, you start to know, okay, this is this person's strength, and this is this person's weaknesses. So very early on, we were able to then define what whose roles are. So very easily you would find that if there's certain issues coming up, depending on what the nature of that issue is, there's somebody that is going to try and find a solution to it. So if there's something wrong with, say for instance now, a recipe or something to do with we're building numbers, we're looking at our numbers. Yeah, I mean, before, but the primary person is Shade. Shade is the numbers person. She will run the numbers. She's very detailed, very meticulous in saying that. Now, if it comes to things operationally, immediately there is a line of who handles the operations, who handles what's happening in the business and what needs to be tweaked or what needs to be fixed. So I think it's very early on, quickly defining what rules are, whether it's through an organogram, whatever way, as simple as it may be, whether it's through an organogram, what reports into that person, like in any other business. So in certain ways, we sort of take it away from just being, I think one thing I really don't like, especially if somebody comes into my office and then the first thing that they're saying is, it's a husband and wife business or it's a family business. I really like it to be, I think Buki said something about that, whether you determine what sort of business you want to have, whether we're looking at it as a legacy business. So it's not really so much about, it's Oga and Madam's business. It's really what is each person's role. And everyone has their clear, even outside of both of us, there's still the decisions that will be made outside of both of us that doesn't even have to come. So you're trying to build those systems and processes into it. And I think that's what keeps driving me. Where can we put in systems? What is weak? What can you sort of improve on and work on? I don't know if you sort of touched on.
Yes. The other thing I just wanted to buttress on was this thing of I don't know. I'm not the one to be talking to the men, but I'll just chip it in. And I think really for husband and wife, the ones that I find thrive well, or in terms of the dynamics of the relationship, are those where the men don't feel intimidated by the wives. It's not like, in a sense, where you're in competition with one another. It's very, very easy, especially within our cultural context, where you find, are you competing? Are we in for the same? We're in the same team. We're trying to achieve the same goal. So it's not like we're working together, we're a team. So just being able to, like Baby said, okay, my wife is strong here. This is not my strong area. I'm not going to try and start struggling with. Do you understand? Let's just do it. And I think one thing I want to also bring that really helps with us is that when we get to work, once we have won, Felicia's ideology and it really helps is that we're partners. We're on equal footing, right? Yes. And ultimately, there needs to be there's a boss that is driving. You can't have two heads, so he's the ultimate boss. Do you understand? But we know that within the way things work between both of us, it's not like he doesn't do I'm your boss. Do you understand? Even though we all call him boss, it's like we're equal stakeholders in this thing. So it's not the wife you're meant to submit. I said this. It's like okay, we're just business partners. And that's how it plays out, and it really helps. So I wanted to just add that.
That's fantastic. I like that, and I think that's how we also need to see marriages as well. That you're both partners in a marriage, even though there's a boss, the man is the head, but you're equal partners. And I wanted to ask about conflict resolution, right? Because in marriage, you have arguments, right? And sometimes you have an argument and you may not want to talk to the person because you just need your space. But you may say, okay, I'll see him in the evening. Let me just have my day. But when you work together, you have to see the person, in the office, right? So what is your conflict resolution strategy so that you also don't take home matters into the office and people will know that, Oga and Madam, they are fighting today.
Yeah, for me, I don't bottle it up. I try to find the right way to speak up. I can't even, I don't know, it's such a weight on my heart to keep something you have done or you have said and I'm unable to talk about it. I can't do it. Before now, I'm not, right now, the way I am right now, I don't do it well before now. I can just bust out and just say, you did it this way. But during the times where we would then have one-on-one conversation around, oh, this was what happened, this was my intention. And, after having such conversations, watching him, I am able to draw out the intent behind what happened. And for me, if I am able to establish the fact that he meant well, the approach or how he came across might just have been what hurts me, then it helps me in the way I communicate, the hurt or the grudge. Something still even happened recently. It's not even up to 2 weeks. In the office, he was addressing us as usual. Our FD, he was just talking and talking. And I felt like he rubbed off on my department. And I felt like if he had spoken to me about this thing, I would have addressed it with my team. But it just went on and on, and as it was going on and on, it was just paining me in my belly. I'm like, God, dude, we'll get home today. So, I was just quiet. I think he even said that I was angry when we closed, because we always, go to the office together in the same car. He noticed I was angry. He tried to buy me food. He didn't even know it was him I was angry about, But when we got home, I couldn't hold it, and I, told him about it. And then he was so sorry, but hurt as well. Like, no, we've come a long way. I shouldn't think that he would be discussing something that was under my purview. And and that was it. We were still happy. We still slept on the same bed, ate the same food. But the fact that I'm able to establish intent, it helps me deal with our conflicts better, personally.
Thank you. Okay.
Okay, so I'll just say that first and foremost, you cannot escape it. The marriage conflicts will enter the business conflicts will enter marriage. I don't know if the organizers have a different experience, because if something goes, maybe there's a communication in the house, and both of you have to work together, maybe on the same projects in the office, you're going to have to meet. But I think somehow we just found a way to separate it. So if you get to the office, we work on it together. We don't allow that impact what's going on in the office. But then when we get back home, we try to address it as quickly as possible. We don't allow it to linger. And I'll just touch on again what Bimbo has said. So for us, about intent. We're always talking about, why are we doing this together? What's the purpose? So we know that even when decisions or actions, especially within the business, looks like it contradicts what any of us like, we always understand that this is really about the purpose and the mission that we both agree on. So because of that, we can quickly get back and open up to say, this is what I don't like about it. This is what happened, and we're able to talk about it. I think it's just that simple fact that we are always talking, we are always communicating, always. So just always talking about it.
Okay.
And I want to say the purpose. This thing just crossed my mind now. One thing you should never do, is how will I put it? Like, so I'll just give an example. I'm not finding the right words. When you hear things from your staff, when you hear things from anybody, especially when it's about your wife, don't hold it. Just leave there. Because if you're not careful, all those side talks can come in between both of you. So I think just be very open and always communicate, and even over communicate. Don't allow things fester. Just bring it up, and over time, you get to really understand each other, and that working relationship just gets better and better and better over time.
Thank
And
you.
being humble enough to apologize when you are wrong, and being mindful enough not to repeat, whatever you guys have settled, about an issue.
Thank you. I know the Ogulas may have to drop off shortly. They have a hard stop. So I'm just going to ask one final question to the Ogulas. So COVID hit and businesses, struggled. Everybody had, most other traditional couples that are not in business will probably have thought about, how to, navigate COVID together, how to, protect their marriages. We heard stories of in China how so many the divorce rates went up after the lockdown. But in your situation, you both had to not only navigate that in marriage, but also it affected your business because you are a business where people used to come in to have ice cream, and also food and everything. So how did you navigate that to make sure that you were able to come out of your business thrived and also your marriage thrived? And this question is very important because now, after COVID, we now have another global crisis, an economic crisis, and so businesses also are, people have to focus on how to thrive in businesses, but they also need to also protect their marriage. If you can quickly just answer that before you go, if you don't mind.
So so great. Like I said, great question. It's really the way I sort of looked at it, especially when COVID came in. Business got hit. Everyone, it was a good thing because it was an inflection point. It's a time where people now had to really start to re-engineer their business, to meet whatever difficulty or challenges their business would have been faced with, or however peculiar it would have been for each individual business. But then I think what I always looked at in terms of business, and then if you're looking at it in terms of the long haul, you're not just looking at it in terms of what's happening today. The first thing was we're going to write this. I think that's the first thing we both sort of agreed on. We're going to write this out. So after COVID, unfortunately during that COVID, then we also had the EndSARS during that affected even a couple of our outlets as well that were shut down. But then, like I said, it got us into a place where you're then able to look at, okay, what strategies are you going to use to address these sort of things? Like you're saying, people are not coming in. So we now started going into, is it third parties we're going to now go to address some of the issues where people can't come in? So we had arrangements, we had junior, so we had people like junior, to set up specific agreements with juniors specifically to say, okay, this is what we're going to do, and this is how you're going to help us and work through this. So I think it was having a long-term plan and vision for the business. That first of all, we're going to ride through this. It's going to be a tough period, but then how do we just get through this? I think that was really it. What do you?
And what I want to even add, I can't even take away from this is, you see, there's a peace and there's a strength that only could have come from God and our faith. So especially when the EndSARS protest came up and it stopped 2 of our stores in Circle Mall and were vandalized, it was a big blow for us, especially so you're already dealing with COVID. The effects of COVID and the impact of COVID on business, and then that happens. And those were 2 stores that were actually contributing a significant amount to the whole portfolio, that kind of thing. Because with businesses, let's talk about our own. You have some stores that maybe are really struggling, and you have ones that these are the ones like, okay, one of the cash cows. That was what Circle Mall represented to us. And I can remember when that happened, and staff, when they said, as they were calling us, this is happening, they are taking this, they are looting, they are doing this, live reports, they are carrying this, they are carrying this machine out of the store, they are carrying this out of the store, and I just went to God, and God gave peace, because I was like, God, ultimately you are provider, you are source. And you're in control, you'd never lose control. So if you allow this to happen, then it will be good at the end. I didn't know how. Even Felicia had, when we even prayed, we're like, you're such an amazing amount of peace. Because next time we had to go physically to the office, you could see staff looking at us, like expecting to see and we're just fine. And when we weren't acting, we weren't trying to be strong, like let's try and put up a bold face. It was actually God. And I was like, okay, so this is really what Christianity is about, that God gives peace in the midst of everything. And through it all, we're still here. Our relationship, as far as our relationship was, when you're talking about relationship and business, even during COVID, what has helped us with is that, COVID or no COVID, we're friends, right? And our lives are sort of, because we work together, we have been stuck with each other from time anyway, because we're going to the office together, we're coming back together, we sit in. So COVID was just, it was not too far from our reality anyway. Do you understand? Being stuck in the same house wasn't too far from our reality. But as far as business and everything, God just helped us. And, and we've just found new ways, the online avenue, deliveries. We had to build up on our logistics in terms of delivery. COVID changed the whole way we looked at our business, because people now, after COVID, customers and preferences sort of change. People are more into convenience now. People don't really like to go out as much as before. You can see Netflix and cinemas, that was COVID. Things just sort of changed. So we had to sort of learn to adapt to the new way at that point of running business, and God just helped us. Circle Mall is now back open, so thank God. Yeah, we're still here.
Thank you so much. Thank you. And I know you have to go, so thank you so much. We're actually almost out of time anyway, so I'll just ask the same last question to the Balogos. But thank you so much for joining. We really appreciate. We both love you guys so much. So love to the kids. We'll see you later. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
Well done. Thank you.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you. So, Mr. and Mrs. Balogun, how was it for you? Same question, COVID, and we'll wrap up with that.
So COVID 2020, that was one of the most difficult years in business, because thinking about the business, this is what two of us did. The stores were closed at a point in time, and this was what me and him got 100%. So, from my perspective, I was thinking about the business, I was thinking about family and all of that. But like the players said, we came together, and in terms of being able to mash out the team and find alternative means, that was one of the best periods of just really working together. We're always talking, strategizing, even though we could not leave home physically. God really just helped us with a lot of wisdom, and were able to overcome that period. But it was quite a difficult time. And like the players were saying, these are those in our reality anyway. We're almost always together, maybe 98% of the time. So it was nothing different for us. I think it was even so good because we made a baby during COVID. And we got the result in 2022. Something we've been waiting on God for a long while, and then it just came that year. So it was it started out very very difficult and challenging. And just thinking in terms of it's almost like this is all our eggs are in, and if this thing takes a turn for the worse, what's going to happen? So there was a bit of anxiety, but again, the strength of two people really helped, us to navigate that period.
Bims, would you like to add to it? you gave birth to yourself, really, because she's so adorable and she looks exactly like you.
Thank you. Yeah. Nothing much to add, really, to that question. It was such an unprecedented time, right, in the world, the whole world. I just like the part that, as couples, there will be difficult times, there will be sweet times, but the capacity to believe in your purpose, believe in God, believe in the fact that tomorrow is going to be all right. I love the peace and strength that Felicia referenced. It is so important to know God, to be well-grounded, because He's the one that would supply, the clarity, the health, the support we need to pull through those, tough times. Because, like the scripture says, the arm of flesh would fail because it is flesh. But when we are powered by the Spirit of God, we will do unimaginable things. Before COVID, I think sometime early on in the life of the business, I think there was something around economy, downturn as well.
2008.
And so, so we came out of that. And COVID came as well, was even harder. We came out of that. So because two indeed are better than one. So it's in working together, collaborating together, believing together, and building together against all odds. We'll continue to pull us through.
Thank you so much. I mean, I feel like a lot of the things, if you can do marriage together, you can most likely do business together. I think that I'm just saying
I don't think so.
No, but I just feel like that, how they say, is it transferable skills? I just feel like there are a lot of things that you can take on, and obviously your personalities as well. I just feel like I've learned so much from, both couples just sharing about the journey. And it seems like it's actually a nice thing to work together, like going into the car, going to work together, coming back. That's a luxury some people don't, that's, there's so much that can happen in traffic time.
It's a nice thing when the synergy works, right? If the synergy doesn't work, then obviously it's not a nice thing.
Yeah.
Both couples have spoken, and as they were speaking, what came to my mind, a recollection of what I had as a dream I had. I won't share the whole dream, but I think it speaks to what our purpose is as husband and wife, and also depicts what we're talking about. With marriage and their professional work being joined together, the only reason why it's moving is like when you're on a tandem bicycle, and two people ride it. And the only way you can get from point A to point B is if both of you ride in unison. And at the same time, when both of you are riding in unison, where you have issues or where there are obstacles, the person in front or the person at the back has to communicate. And communication is key. You now explain to the person that, I'm a bit tired, I can't cycle anymore, let's take a break. But not, you don't communicate, you're just there folding your hands and the person in front is cycling, and you're not getting to where you're going fast enough. Because marriage and life is a purpose, and there's a destination at the end. And the destination is, God wants us to come back home. And I think for a lot of marriages, that analogy of a tandem bicycle, we need to know that the person in front is not, though they're the head, they're not the ultimate controller. The person at the back can even power more. And when you work together, especially in a business, it helps, when you have that unison and that synergy. And sometimes you have to take a break. I think with the analogy with COVID and the economic downturns or whatever it is, those are obstacles God would allow you to go through. Sometimes as you're riding together, sometimes you have to park on one side, get off, like the Baloguns, and have a baby. It's a blessing. Or sometimes you have to
just keep going
and you upscale, like the Gula is, and you find another way to distribute your products with Jumia and all that. So and I think for us, I'm learning that we're going somewhere. And we're totally in a different space from where they are, but the unity we have as couples is marriage. And if our marriages can work the way God designed it, then our businesses, our kids, our lives will work. So I think we need to be more open, be more patient, and be considerate for one another.
Yeah, you see what I'm enjoying, right? The
But there'll be
wisdom,
problems every
the
now and then
wisdom I'm
sometimes.
getting. Can you see how we just give us tandem bicycle analogy?
No, it's
Google
because I had
it.
a dream about
Google
it.
it. Yeah, but honestly, and now you see, yeah, it's family business. See, yeah, co-host, you were even asking questions to so you're ready for. We can do Omi and Benosh talk show kind of thing.
We'll see where it goes.
But honestly, it's been such a blessing having Mr. and Mrs. Balogun here. So fresh. Go make sure if you're watching, if you haven't had, they just launched this new product too. In fact,
Warm bowl.
the warm bowls. You know what we're talking about financial infidelity. Normally, if I go to So Fresh, I cannot buy anything in So Fresh without buying for my husband. I just feel bad. I can't go home and not buy him something. I always have to buy and buy for myself. But I can't lie, babes. I bought that one. I bought that one bowl. Not that I didn't buy for you. I exist on my own.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, but thank you so much. And to the Ogulayas as well. I don't know if they're still on or watching or they'll watch later as well. Thank you so much. We learned so much from both couples. It's been such a wonderful. I can't believe we've come to the end of the Richer Woman Festival. I'm sure you're happy now.
The end of this session, the end of this year's season.
This season, yeah, the festival of this season. But